Welcome to The Business. I'm Alicia Barry. Coming up on the program, a lower than expected rate blow. The RBA makes it 6 in a row as borrowers rush to refinance. Petrol stations are on notice tonight. The consumer watchdog warns it'll prosecute retailers found to be price gouging after the fuel excise relief comes to an end at midnight. The discount was introduced in the March budget to ease cost of living pressures. The Treasurer says the nation can't afford to extend it, as Emily Stewart reports. Speaking of that economic pain, and the RBA here has been talking about walking a narrow path to ensure we don't see a downturn. Is that narrow path available in the US? Is a soft landing possible?
I think it's really hard. I think it is an extremely narrow path.
Well, BlackRock is advising its investors to shun most stocks because central banks simply aren't acknowledging the extent of the recession needed to quell inflation. That's at odds with what you're saying.
Yeah, I think the market's going to want to see at least a couple of months of downward movement in inflation.
As Phil Lowe slowed the intensity of rate rises, the share market picked up the pace, rallying to its best day since June 2020. The All Ords and the ASX 200 index both surging around 3.7% each. The Australian share market is reversing 2 days of very strong gains, edging lower this morning after strong employment data out of the US overnight added to the case for continued aggressive rate rises from the US Fed. The All Ords and the ASX 200 index are down around 0.4% each. The US dollar has been on a tear, rising as the US Federal Reserve jacks up interest rates, sending rival currencies tumbling against it. The Aussie dollar is facing the downward pressure, but the pain is nowhere near as bad as for some. This has been a long time coming because Australia has had to rely on quarterly inflation data when the Reserve Bank, of course, meets monthly to discuss interest rates. And well, it hasn't been just Jim Chalmers speaking today. Of course, the Coalition authored this policy and Labor backed it in the election. Angus Taylor has been out this morning defending his party's policy, saying delivering the tax cuts will mean growth. What's your thoughts on that?
Look, I think the growth argument was always a bit underdone.
And that's all from The Business. For more on those stories, you can head to the ABC News website and click on the business page, and you can catch the program at any time on iView. I'm Alicia Barry. Thanks for your company.